Today on Tracy's Basement, Street Fighter V Collector's Edition. Welcome back to my channel. Something a little bit different for you today. This is going to be the first video game in general related video. I don't think I've ever really talked about video games at all on this channel, except for maybe my video game Funko Pops. So this is something brand new, and what I have today is the Street Fighter V Collector's Edition. My husband picked this up while I was out at work. He's been patiently waiting for me to do the unboxing video so that we can try it out. So let's take a look at this, my first ever video game related unboxing video. So as you can see from the front there is a Ryu statue of some kind in there. Very interested to see what that looks like. There's also some other little additions shown on the back there. I'm interested to take a look at it. Street Fighter, of course, awesome game with an awesome history. I personally was more of a Mortal Kombat person myself, but Street Fighter also definitely big part of growing up in video games. So first thing out of the box, of course, is the actual game. PS4, we have multiple consoles, but we mostly play the PS4, so that's what we've picked it up for. Very interested to actually play the game. We'll be getting to that very shortly, so for now we'll just set that aside. A couple of the smaller things first. There are two little mini posters. The one of M. Bison here has on the back a code to enjoy some Street Fighter comics for free, so that's pretty cool. This little group portrait here has a code for the Street Fighter V music download, so just some cute little neat extra stuff that they added into the box. There's also this little book, design collection it says. Let's have a look at that. So they usually have these kinds of things in a lot of collector's editions nowadays, just kind of basically art books. But the way this one is laid out is it has like the character design and all their information, and there's a whole bunch of different characters as you flip through. Just little information, pictures of how they decided to draw certain stuff. Pretty cool. And finally, the really cool part of the box is the Ryu statue. He comes in a couple of pieces here, so I'll put him together for you. The main part, the top half of his body, is what you could see in the box. The rest of his body is in pieces in the styrofoam here. Just give me a moment, please. Here we go. Pretty easy to stick all together. He's a lot bigger than you would expect him to be just having looked at the box. And this is really nicely done. Very awesome mold on like his gi and everything. Wicked paint job. His bandana and belt are kind of, floating in the wind, so to speak. Standing in like a blocking pose. I don't know if you guys can really see his face, but he's looking pretty angry. Ready for a good fight. Excellent paint job on like the muscles and just everything basically. Awesome paint job. Really well done. Lots of details and like his feet and his fists. This is pretty wicked right here. And it is super heavy. I don't know if you guys can really tell from the video, but it is really sturdy and well made. I like that a lot. It's going to look really nice next to some of our other video game stuff. Definitely worth buying the collector's edition. So that's everything in the box. I would definitely say, especially considering this statue, the extra cost of buying the collector's edition, definitely worth it. The real question is the cost of the game itself worth it? Let's find out, shall we? Okay, everybody say hello to Jason, my husband, who will be my player 2 today. Except that I'm his player 2. And the first thing we're noticing about the game is that there is no arcade mode, which is really weird for a fighting game.
Yeah, it's... Arcade mode has been a staple in fighting games since pretty much fighting games when they started in the arcades.
Exactly.
I mean, not having a mode where you fight a guy of increasing difficulty, you know, all the way up the ladder until you get to a boss that's super cheap is just... It's weird not having that in a game in 2016.
Extremely weird. And an odd thing to take out since it doesn't really take up that much extra, you know what I mean? Like, it's not this huge story mode that takes up the entire game. It's arcade mode.
I'm no video
super
game.
Simple.
I'm no video game programmer, but it seems like a pretty simple thing to me.
Exactly. And the other thing that we noticed is that there is no versus the computer mode. It's player 1 versus player 2. That's your option.
Yeah, so the training mode doesn't really teach you any combos or anything like that. So really, this game, there's no playing it on your own for a while to get used to it and figure out the tricks. It pretty much just throws you right into the fire. Like, let's go fight. You're probably going to get a pro. And if you're not pro yourself, you're probably going to get your ass kicked.
Trial by fire. Throw them to the wolves.
Okay. Pick a random stage here. So who are you picking?
I'll start with Ken. Ken was always my favorite character in these games. No real particular reason why. I just kind of liked him.
I gotta go with my girl, Cammy.
Ooh, Cammy. Ken does look kind of funny in this game. I'm not digging the top knot thing.
Oh, I have to say Cammy. Come on. Cammy's my girl. Well, Cammy's my girl since Street Fighter 2 added, like, the Turbo Edition or whatever like that. Before, I was mostly a Ryu guy. Who was your favorite?
It was always all about Ken.
I was always a Ryu. Well, when I was just a little kid, like really little, when Street Fighter 2 first came out, it was all Blanca and E Honda because you could just mash the punch button and do the electric move and the big fist slap. But once I got a little better, I was always Ryu, sorry.
So what you're saying is that you started out as a cheap son of a bitch.
Well, come on. This is probably practically the first fighting game, really, that I played. I'm learning the moves here now from scratch again. It's been so long.
Well, you're pretty much on par with me because I don't know any of the moves anyway.
No, all you're doing is jumping around anyway. I could just do the cannon spike. No, it's pretty much Ryu once I started doing it. I always, Ryu's moves were always the quarter circle moves, and a lot of characters had the charge moves, and I just hated the charge moves because you had to really plan them out. You couldn't be very spontaneous with them. Hold back for 2 seconds. Oh, here we go. How to do that? I think that was 2 quarter circles towards and kick.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, not awesome.
Well, not awesome for you. Oh, there we go.
I personally was more of a Mortal Kombat kid growing up.
Well, that's because you could just hit high punch over and over and over again and do that little face smack.
Exactly.
And sweeps and uppercuts. Wasn't very complicated.
But when we did play Street Fighter, it was always all about Ken.
Why Ken? Him and Ryu were the same.
I don't know, I just liked Ken more for some reason. Maybe it was because he was cute.
Oh, Ryu's not cute?
Kids are stupid.
I'll take your word for it.
Maybe I was a blonde person.
Once they came out with the version that where they let you play... Ooh, I hit play again. But once they came out with the version that let you play as the bosses, you know, Balrog and Vega and all them, and Bison, everybody chose Sagat. Because Sagat was super cheap. He had his huge reach, and you could spam his fireballs, and everybody just constantly cheaped with him.
Of course.
Even when Street Fighter 4 came out, you went online, and 60% to 70% of the people were using Sagat because he was easy to exploit. I think they kept releasing patches and everything to kind of nerf them a bit here and there, and they would always find new ways to exploit them. It was ridiculous.
People are always going to find the exploits.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, jeez.
Ah, no!
You didn't really need to do that. You're practically dead, but...
I was getting kind of close on that one.
I was busy talking. But yeah, once the Turbo came out with, was it Fei Long and, who was it, T-Hawk and, Cammy, of course, and who else was the other guy? I can't remember right now, but, it was all about Cammy.
Cammy seems like a pretty cool character.
But yeah, once the boss ones came out, it was all Sagat. Everybody was using Sagat. Who was the only boss character in the original Street Fighter 2 to actually keep his name when they came over here, eh?
Yeah, it's true. They did kind of a name triangle flip, which was a common thing with video games coming from Japan to America. They would change names all the time, but they changed... Vega was originally Balrog, and the character who would become Balrog was actually M. Bison, which was kind of like a play on Mike Tyson. His name was actually meant to be Mike Bison, but they figured it would be like legal repercussions on that when they came
Plus
over
it was
to
ridiculous.
the US. But what's funny too is in Alpha 3, one of Balrog, who was previously M. Bison, one of his quotes was, "If you fight like that again, I'm going to bite your ear off," or something to that effect.
Was that really in that game?
Oh yeah.
I did not know
It
that.
was awesome.
I'm going to have to look that up now. Maybe I'll have to put it in the video if I find it. Because that's kind of ridiculous. Hilarious, even. But
On the topic of those characters, I'll try Vega.
I'll take Mike Bison. But not the real Mike Bison. I sucked with Bison. I always sucked with Bison. I'm probably going to suck here with Bison, too.
Next to Ken, Vega was probably the character I used second most.
Oh, I could not use Vega.
That's not to say I was any good with him.
Well, no. You're not good at any good with Ken.
Granted. I always got a kick at how full of himself he is.
I couldn't use Vega because he's all charge moves and his, he was always jumping all over the place. Holy jeez, I can't use this guy.
Oh.
Why don't you button mash some more?
I'm not button matching. So, despite the fact that it wasn't really my game, Street Fighter is a game that we grew up with. The first one came out when we were like...
Whoa, here we go.
Ah!
Alright. KO.
You blew me up.
Continue.
Yeah, the first one came out when we were like 2 or 3 years old, but the 2 series, the multiple 2s, that we were prime age for those, and there was actually an arcade machine in our local bowling alley, so that was pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Well, actually, the arcade machine in the bowling alley, that was there right up until like the mid-2000s when the place closed down.
Yeah, that did last quite a long time.
I could not play these games in the arcade, though.
No, the joystick, not a fan. I was always a kid that needed a D-pad.
Oh, me too. I don't know. Oh, nice moves. I don't know
did
what that
something.
was.
Aw.
But, yeah, the joystick, it would always have me, like, jumping or
Crouching.
doing some... Oh, here, you're dead.
Oh.
Oh, look at that. That's not what I did before.
Nope. Pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Shiny.
Maybe it's because I had my V trigger on, which is a cool thing. Whatever, yeah, because everybody has a different V trigger. I don't know what they do.
Yeah, we're gonna have to learn as we go.
But yeah, I could not play with a joystick at all. Like, I would be jumping, I would be crouching by accident, I would be doing all kinds of things I did not intend to do. I don't know how the pros that prefer the joysticks can do it.
Just lots and lots of
You
practice,
see all
I
the
guess.
pros playing online and they got the joystick in their hands and they're like, with the buttons. It's like I don't know what they're doing. But
I haven't heard enough time with this thing. Never mind a big joystick.
oh, some of the things they do are amazing. Alright, I'll go with me boy Ryu.
Who shall I try? I'll try Chun-Li. One thing that is really nice about fighting games in general is they're one of the only types of games left where developers are keeping the ability to side-by-side fight with, you know, a friend that's on the couch with you. You know, multiplayer and all that stuff, that's great. It's awesome that we have that ability to play with people on the other side of the planet. But it sucks that so many games now, they take out that ability to just sit on a couch with your friends and play together side by side, talking to each other, you know, hanging out. That was like the huge part of our childhood. What made video games great was that we would be able to sit together, you know, play groups at a time, actually hang out. It would be a social experience, you know.
Yeah. I can still remember the days in Frank's basement playing, like, me and him just ripping up the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Sega Dreamcast. Just constantly...
Oh, no.
Just, constantly having fights, just going right down to the wire, and, you know, everybody's there watching you, too, right? Waiting for their turn and stuff, and it's just... It brings the memories to me and Frank, right? Because we can remember playing each other, right? You got annihilated there. We can remember playing each other. We can remember those matches coming right down to the wire, right? We have memories, and, you know, we look at each other, and there's always... One of us always has an excuse. Oh, you know, I was distracted. Oh, I was doing this, right? You know? And you get that social aspect. And it's nice that, say, if I wanted to play with Frank right now, I could play with him on the other side of the world, right? Like, you remember playing Halo back in the day?
Yeah.
We used to play drinking Halo.
Yeah.
Every time you got killed, you had to take a drink, and, you know, you would spawn and you would just spin in circles throwing sticky grenades everywhere, and just...
I was the queen of sticky grenades.
Just poor Steve. Like, Steve sucked. Steve just sucked at it. But it was fun because we had memories of it, right?
Exactly. And
when you're playing like 4 players, like, you can remember those sick moves or kills that you did, right? And everybody remembers it and has a good memory of it. Like, if you pull that stuff on multiplayer, whoop-de-doo, nobody was there to enjoy it with you, right? There's no memory tied to it. It's still cool. And I think what they've done with multiplayer is awesome. But the constantly not giving you the option for local with your buddies anymore, it's just really killing a lot of the memory-making aspects of games.
Exactly. It should always be an option, because it's just not the same playing online. Even if you've got, you know, your headsets and all that stuff, it's just not the same as sitting there, seeing the person's reaction, you know, that social aspect. It's not as social when you're online with somebody.
I really miss the days of just being able to sit on the couch, play, like, I mean, yeah, sucks, you're gonna get screen lookers, right?
Oh, of course.
You were a notorious screen looker.
Shush.
It didn't help you.
No, it didn't. Yeah, it wasn't that bad at Halo.
Oh, man, you're definitely way better than Steve.
Everybody was better than Steve.
Poor Steve. Steve would spawn and die and drink again. But... It's just, yeah, I just miss that social aspect of it.
Yeah.
But that's one thing you'll never take from these fighting games, because you don't need separate screens or anything, right?
Yeah,
You're both on the same screen.
The day they take away that option in fighting games, video game apocalypse. Yeah, okay, so there you have it. Street Fighter V, pretty solid fighting game. The controls are pretty solid. The characters seem pretty balanced. It's a lot of fun. Even fairly intuitive, even for a scrub like me.
Yeah, the light punches. When you throw a light punch, you can tell you're throwing a light punch. You can a hard kick is solid. You can tell when you're throwing a hard kick. You can slide them together fairly easy. But this is just based off a few matches, and, you know, it seems easy enough for a total new person to be able to pick it up and play, while it's deep enough. It seems like it will be deep enough that a pro can really get into it and find all those, like, extra frames to sneak punches in and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's something you can jump into pretty quickly, but it's also something that you could lose yourself in for many hours.
Yeah, I mean, they all seem balanced right now. I'm sure before too long, if not already, there will be people who have found ways to exploit certain characters.
Oh, there definitely will be. Guarantee that.
As of right now, it seems pretty solid, pretty balanced. There's only 16 characters, which is kind of small for a Street Fighter game, but it's Capcom, so you know there's going to be a billion DLC.
Yeah, it's going to be expanded. There will be a lot of stuff added.
They're trying this new DLC thing. We'll see how that goes. I don't really know what I think of it yet with this new plan that they're having where you can unlock the points and everything. They made it a super grind so you can buy it, and it's like an MMO, really.
No. We'll have to see how it goes. So far, it seems like a lot of fun. It's definitely an enjoyable fighting game. It does what it promises. Basically, right now, the main problem is that it's missing key core components that you would expect to see in a fighting game, like the arcade mode.
The fighting's great. The player versus player fighting, which is basically the main point of a fighting game, is solid. Yeah. There's no argument there. The fighting itself is great. It's just missing everything else. And some of these things are things that have been in fighting games since the early 90s. Yeah, like, it's just, they should not be missing. It should not have been released until those things are added.
Exactly.
Now, they keep saying that there's going to be stuff added with updates and things down the road, but it should never have been released in stores until those things were ready.
I wholeheartedly agree. That said, it does seem like a pretty fun game, and if you are a fighting game kind of a person, if that's your deal, I definitely think you would like to check it out. Street Fighter V, definitely worth a try.
Are you ready to go again?
Ready to go again. And this is the part where you guys can give me some love. If you liked the video and you want to watch some more, here are some of the more recent ones. And if you enjoyed the channel, please give me a big thumbs up, subscribe right below. Please keep coming back for more videos. Bye!